Every morning, millions of people wake up because a violent little rectangle screamed at them. And somehow, they obey. No questions, no rebellion, no spiritual awakening. Just alarm, snooze, suffering. That's already insane. Imagine existing in a universe this mysterious, this beautiful, this absurd, and your first daily task is checking if you can afford breakfast. That's not poetic. That's disrespectful. That's the funny part about being human. You can be one mental breakdown away from disappearing and still fix your hair before leaving the house. You can feel completely empty inside and still reply, haha, to something that wasn't even funny. You can hate your life and still care about your Instagram story looking clean. That is comedy. Dark comedy. Most people think the worst thing that can happen to a person is pain, or failure, or losing everything. But honestly, the most dangerous thing that can happen to a human is getting used to a life they secretly hate. Because once you get used to it, you stop fighting it. You stop questioning it. You stop noticing how deeply weird your existence has become. And that's when life becomes dangerous. Not dramatic dangerous, not movie dangerous, just quietly wrong. You wake up, you scroll, you eat, you work, you fake laugh. You say, I'm just tired. You go home, you stare at a screen, then you sleep, and repeat. That's not a life, that's a subscription. And what's even funnier is that humans love decorating their suffering. We buy LED lights, fancy water bottles, cute phone cases, motivational wallpapers, productivity apps, as if your soul is going to heal because your room has better lighting. Bro, no. You don't need a new lamp. You need a different reality. And the scary part? Most people don't even realize it's happening. Because numbness doesn't arrive like tragedy. It arrives like routine. First, you notice something feels off. Then you ignore it. Then you adjust to it. Then one day, you become the type of person who says, "It is what it is." That sentence has ended more dreams than failure ever did. Because "it is what it is" sounds wise, but most of the time, it just means, I gave up, but I want to sound emotionally mature about it. People say they want freedom, but if you actually gave them freedom, most people would panic. Because after years of surviving, pleasing, comparing, performing, and repeating, a lot of people don't even know what they actually want anymore. Ask someone what kind of life they truly want, and watch them reboot like a damaged laptop. They'll say things like, I just want peace. Peace from what? Your schedule? Your fake personality? Your 9 personalities on social media? Your weird little routine where you suffer every day but call it being busy? That's the real joke. Some people are not even living as themselves anymore. They're just playing a role that became too successful to escape. Some people are the strong one. Some are the funny one. Some are the chill one. Some are the quiet one. But remove the role, and suddenly they don't know who they are. That's terrifying. Imagine spending your whole life protecting a version of you that was only built to survive. And now you're so good at pretending, even you believe it. That's why some people look perfectly fine, but feel strangely absent. Because they're physically here, but mentally rented out. They're there, but not there. Smiling, but disconnected. Talking, but unreachable. And modern life makes this incredibly easy. Because now, the second you feel something uncomfortable, you can distract yourself instantly. Sad? Open an app. Lonely? Open an app. Confused? Open an app. Your soul trying to speak? Refresh the feed. That is insane behavior. But because everybody does it, we call it normal. And let's be honest, humans are unbelievably talented at pretending. We can feel dead inside for 3 years straight and still say, "I'm good." We can hate our routine and defend it. We can desperately need change and still choose what's familiar just because it's less awkward. That's the trap. Not pain, not failure, not sadness. The trap is repetition. Doing the same things, feeling the same things, complaining about the same things, and calling it life. That's why it's possible to lose yourself without anything dramatic happening. No explosion, no betrayal, no big tragic moment. Just tiny compromises. A little less honesty, a little less curiosity, a little less courage, a little less soul. Until one day, you wake up and realize you became a very efficient stranger. And the worst part? Everyone congratulates you for it. Wow, you're so disciplined. Wow, you're doing well. Wow, you've matured. Meanwhile, your real self is somewhere in the background like, "Bro, we used to feel things." That might be the most absurd part of adulthood. You slowly abandon the things that made you feel alive and call it growth. You stop creating, stop wondering, stop risking, stop being weird, stop being honest. And because everyone else is doing the same thing, it starts to look normal. But normal does not mean healthy. A lot of normal people are just professionally disconnected. And yet, here's the strange part. If this hurts to hear, that's actually a good sign. Because it means something in you is still awake. That discomfort, that quiet frustration, that weird feeling that your life feels slightly fake, that's not your enemy. That's the part of you that hasn't fully surrendered yet. Because the real danger was never pain. Pain is loud. Pain tells you something is wrong. But numbness? Numbness lets you waste years peacefully. And that's way more dangerous. One day turns into 1 month. 1 month turns into 1 year. And 1 year turns into... Wait, is this really my life? And maybe that's the real horror. Not that life is hard. Not that people disappoint you. Not that the world is unfair. But that a person can slowly disappear while still showing up on time. So no, the worst thing that can happen to a human isn't always some dramatic ending. Sometimes it's becoming a low-resolution version of yourself for so long that you forget you were ever real.